Hello and welcome back to another special site update, the news for Final Fantasy XIV patch 6.5. 6.5 coming then early October, and we've seen this once before. We had a very basic special site before, but finally we've got an update for this, and you'll probably expect quite a few more updates leading up to October, including in and around FanFest as well for FanFest EU. We still have that beautiful logo at the top there that a lot of people have been memeing about because Zero seems to have lost her neck. Don't really understand that personally. It's just perspective. I think it's quite good. It's obviously called Growing Light, the patch, and it says, "Unto abyssal depths shine hope anew." So that's part of the new storyline. We have some imagery that's going to flash by in the background. It says, "The Warrior of Light's victory over Golbez proved hollow, for it did nothing to stop the awakening of Zeramus. Its strength was beyond reckoning, clad in darkness nigh impenetrable. Indeed, naught save resplendent light could pierce such a tenebrous veil, and so the Warrior of Light seeks aid from their allies in the first." Now obviously, if you're going to be trying to find a way to pierce the darkness with light, then what better place to go to than somewhere that was literally encompassing by light. And we were obviously the Warrior of Darkness in that storyline in Shadowbringers. So we have some imagery that I quite like the idea of. Is Reen is back in the MSQ. That's the first good thing, because who doesn't love Reen? And Zero is walking amongst obviously the Crystarium here in the first. The second image basically tells the same story, although this does look to be in Amareng. So probably the Wall of Light itself is probably where they're looking at, and she's, doing the whole Minfilia thing. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm very excited to see where the storyline goes and how they bring it all together, because, yeah, I like the first, honestly. It's nice to be able to go back there, and it does also imply the likelihood of Ishtola's plan to go back to the first and find a way of traversal. So there's all sorts of things to look into at that. New challenges section then. So we have this absolutely phenomenal imagery in the background for the first image and the second image there of the characters involved. This then is the third and final part of the God Raid, as many people are calling it, the Myths of the Realm Alliance Raid for our current expansion. This is part 3, which is Thalia. It says, "It was out of their undying love for mankind that the 12 constructed the monument at the heart of Olympos." Omphalos, sorry, not Olympus, Omphalos. That they might never lose sight of their purpose. To answer that love, you must sally forth into the sanctum one more time to grant them their heart's desire. Can we just appreciate how beautiful this place is? Across the board, the art direction for these raids have been just mind-blowing. Look at this. We've got it almost looks like a night elf sort of city, or something like Suramar from World of Warcraft, if you get those vibes. I don't know if it's fair to compare. We've got that sort of darkness, that twilight sort of moon in the sky. There appears to be like liquid coming out of the sky, water or something, to create this fountain, the fountain of life or something. I'm not sure. We've got boats going by in this beautiful like harbor. It is absolutely straight out of the imagination, and I love it. This is exactly why I play Final Fantasy, to see situations like this, and I can only imagine the score that goes with this from the, at this point, god hands of Masayoshi Soken composing and constructing the soundtrack for this. Very excited for this particular raid. It's looking exciting. And then this other image, obviously not really showing too much, but we do have some concepts on the wall. So presumably this is how it ties into the Ancients and how we're going to get that storyline to come around. We've got Kryl there and the other characters. Obviously Graha looking pretty happy with himself, like, yeah, let's get to it. Very cool. Can't wait to see more. Then we have 6.5's new dungeon, part of the storyline, the Lunar Subterrane. Oh my goodness, that second image, that's hilarious. Long has Golbez guarded this location of his domain, a solemn sanctuary wherein he conspired to break the barrier between worlds. It is there, within the recesses of the 13th moon, Zeramus bides its time, gathering the strength that will see Golbez's plan to fruition. But what else could he be guarding in the subterranean labyrinth? What secrets might be laid bare by those willing to brave its abyssal depths? Well, first of all, we saw a preview image of this. They kind of sort of hinted at this. It immediately reminds me of Palace of the Dead, if that is a fair assumption, because of the types of cubes and bricks. You know what I mean? Obviously, this is the Lunar Subterrane, so we've got references from other Final Fantasy games for that exact reason. But yeah, a lot of this is very familiar in a sort of like unnerving way. We also have these teleportation platforms, at least that's what I think they are. Definitely looks like that way to me. And this presumably one of the bosses then, which honestly, I could be mean and say this looks like somebody I know, but I'm not going to go that way. Some interesting jewelry there with some studs and a ball on the end. And then this beautiful pink horn. Not every time you can say that. Also, we can also look at some of this gear as well. This is stuff that's, I believe, already in the game. I don't think. Yeah, the weapons are definitely already in the game. I'm not sure about the armor, though. I can't quite... It kind of looks like shadowless stuff over here. I don't know. It might be just generic stuff, but usually they show off the dungeon armor. Could be recolors of something. I'm not going to dwell too much into that. Let me know what you think about that if you want to overanalyze. Also, this bangle, holy moly, that would be a hazard whilst you're driving. I don't know why that came into my mind, but for some reason that's where my head went. Very cool. I can't wait to see what the bosses are like. All sorts of menacing spoopiness deep underneath the 13th moon. Then we have the Abyssal Fracture, which is Zeramus itself. We saw very little of what Zeramus's form actually looks like, only in a couple of like end cutscenes, like a little preview. The dread void-sent Zeramus, driven by Asdaya's longing to return home, is now poised to break the barrier between worlds, and so the Warrior of Light stands fast against the darkness, a flickering beacon of hope. But should they fail, the 13th's deliverance will prove the Source's destruction. Ooh, spoopy. Yeah, it's always nice to have another big bad, and Zeramus is long overdue for a Final Fantasy XIV debut, and I was super hyped to see that they were going to go this direction, and I cannot wait to see what that's like. So the trial obviously comes in an extreme variant as well as a normal mode, so very excited for that. We have a new Unreal trial. Most people sort of groaned when this was announced, myself included, because the original Thordan was quite taxing, especially, you know, at the time, especially synchronized. You know, if you want to do a proper EX that's going to test you, definitely go and do Thordan Extreme, synchronized lower, minimum item level. In the hopes of sating the foe commander's appetite for harrowing tales of valor, you dig deep within your memory to recall your battle against the primal king Thordan and his sworn brothers of the Heaven's Ward. Their visage in your mind's eye is frighteningly clear, and so you steel yourself to once more endure their righteous fury. I do like Thordan. It's just the idea of doing that again. Oof. I can't wait to see what rewards we get from that, though. Hopefully a nice new chunky mount. Usually with Unreals, you get a new, from the Faux Hollows minigame, you get a new mount if you collect enough tokens and things, which people can save up on the previous Unreals. So if you'd prefer, definitely do Unreal now before 6.5 comes out in October, and then you could just buy whatever the new reward is, which is usually what people do. It will be market tradable, whatever it is. Usually it is either a minion or a mount, or usually the accessories are bound though. But very excited to see people's reactions to this. I probably will try and stay away from it as much as possible. New systems then. So the additional duty support. We made a video about this the other day, how essentially duty support is doing more than just, bridging the gap between expansions. It is now in its entirety complete. This obviously is Mist Dragon in this image, which is part of the burn. As you can see, we've got some characters here. Duty support is essentially an extension of the trust system. They've managed to go back and add duty support for pretty much every main storyline dungeon in the game. All 4-player content that's MSQ related, near enough, will be accessible at all times of the day, all time zones, because if you can't find players, you can certainly run it with NPCs. There are other advantages like your own, solo loot pool, things like that. If you're looking for a mount or a minion or whatever, might drop from one of these things. For example, there is a good point of doing Alamigo. because it drops a mount, and there are minions usually from last bosses and stuff, so it does have its benefits. The downside is the trust NPCs, or duty support NPCs as we should be calling them here, are a lot weaker, and it takes longer to do the dungeons. But it is a really useful feature that I hope they continue to develop for other content, but 6.5's iteration does actually close the gap with the final Stormblood dungeons, bringing us up obviously to the next expansion afterwards, which replaced it into the trust system. So this means you'll be able to do the entire MSQ with trusts, with NPCs. There is actually unique dialogue with them as well, depending on who you take. We did a video the other day on that exact subject. Very cool stuff. The duty support system has been expanded, they say, to include 3 additional dungeons from Stormblood, with NPC companions now available in main scenario dungeons all the way through Endwalker. This is the perfect time to begin your adventure in Eorzea. The duties newly added are the Drowned City of Scala, the Burn, and the Gimlet Dark. Very excited to see how they deal with the Burn, specifically Mist Dragon, and definitely Gimlet Dark, one of the best sort of themed dark dungeons in the game, for sure. Then we've got the free trial and starter edition expansion. This is the biggest thing. So if you're new to Final Fantasy XIV or want to try it out, essentially the free trial is being expanded to include Stormblood up to level 70, which is amazing. It says, did you know the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV Starter Edition and free trial now include the entirety of A Realm Reborn, the award-winning Heavensward, and its second major expansion, Stormblood? A grand adventure awaits, now up to level 70. There you go. You can use that as a sound clip or something, I don't know. But yeah, honestly, the length and breadth and quality of this MMORPG and what you're getting for free now is unparalleled and uncomparable to any other MMORPG on the market, at least for the last few years, and certainly it has been expanded even further. Definitely a good time to get into 14 and get your friends in. Yeah, the free trial's amazing now. I can't wait to make a free trial character, get it to 70, and actually start doing Eureka and things like that. Very excited, actually. So, obviously, at the bottom, we've got that summary of other things. Obviously, the Xbox version open beta testing is 6.5, Island Sanctuary, stuff like that. We went over that before. But yeah, very cool stuff. And of course, there's a media section for all of those new pictures as well. So if you wanted to get, I don't know, a picture of this new crazy monster, you totally could in, I think, 1080p resolution. I don't know. Sometimes I like to do that, put like a new wallpaper or something. But definitely the God Raid. Things I'm most excited for, apart from Myths of the Realm, the MSQ is interesting. I want to see how it ties into Dawn Trail, the new dungeon, obviously the new trial, and yeah, the trust system, yeah, and seeing more people play the game. That is always a big bit of hype. Of course, there's plenty of other things they have yet to talk about, including Island Sanctuary and other updates and things like that. But of course, that will come in future updates, and I'll make a video on those. Much love, enjoy the rest of your day, time zone. Let me know what you're most excited for so far that's been announced for patch 6.5, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.